1, 2, 3, 4! From the Rifts! Hey, welcome back to From the Rifts. I'm Big Will Johnson, and this is my good friend Carmen Belair. And as we promised, guys, we are going to bring you anything that's new, anything that's fresh, anything that's coming on the horizon that comes from Palladium Books. And today we got a special treat. We got Rifts Lemuria for you guys to take a look at, and we're going to talk to you about it and hopefully give you some insight and maybe even persuade you to pick it up for yourself.
Yeah, to let you know, we're going off of the digital notes that were sent to me and the picture scans. I have the notes right in front of me that we got from Kevin. So the book hasn't made it to the printers yet. It's not even finished typesetting, but we got a chance to look at it and try to tell you what's in it. I mean, to keep these things in YouTube time, we have to be pretty quick, but we'll try to go over everything. Do you want to start with the backstory?
Yeah, the backstory is Lemuria is essentially, they coexisted with Atlantis. When Atlantis fell, so too did Lemuria. Lemuria itself, just like Atlantis, they progressed on their own technological evolutionary line, which leaned more toward magic and biotechnology, whereas for ourselves, we went towards hard science and hard tech. And once the Rifts reopened, Lemuria returned, as did Atlantis, and that brings us to where we are now.
Yeah, Lemuria is basically a nation made up of these floating cities. The main one is Mu.
Mu, yeah.
And there's other smaller floating cities, but the main one's Mu. Each floating city is like a giant rock island, you know, with the buildings and structures on top, and a membrane, organic membrane that keeps oxygen in, so it is like a regular breathable atmosphere, and keeps the water out. Now they do have waterways and stuff for their aquatic friends and neighbors, but that basically gives you an idea of what the individual cities look like.
Right. Essentially, they're using is it stone magic to keep these cities aloft. It's basically your classic underwater city. However, they do have the ability to float.
Yeah, they can float. Not only can they float through the water, so they can land on the bottom of the water, they can float up high. They can actually float on the surface, but they can also float up into the air up to like 2,200 miles into the air and fly. Excuse me, feet, 2,200 feet, but and fly through the air or whatever. But the point was they can fly through the air at 320 miles per hour when you're up there. So it's a fast city apparently. Okay, anyway, we'll get on to the inhabitants.
All right.
Basically, the races in Lemuria. There's the Lemurians. Now they're people. They were humans, but they've over this time when they've been gone, they've been magically altering themselves and using their biomancy to make themselves, better, stronger, nearly demigods. They also made themselves aquatic and, just made themselves more suitable to the environment they were in. Yeah,
they are perfectly suited to their environments.
Yeah, they're all psychic, so everybody in Lemuria has psychic powers. They all tend to be tree huggers. They're into nature and pastures.
Yeah, they kind of hang around and
sing
they
kumbaya.
Sing kumbaya, hold hands. If you really want a kind of a vision of them, they kind of remind me of like the sea monkeys. Those old ads and old comic books with sea monkeys, and they're like, they got like the guy smoking a pipe underwater. I kind of picture Lemurians kind of being like that, only with guns.
Yeah.
So.
They do have a warrior caste, which is kind of unusual because it's just kind of different. And mind you, if you're going to play as a player, you're probably playing one of the warrior caste, one of the ones who are the adventurers, and the ones who go out and are more combative. But as a race, it's just interesting that they're more peace loving, et cetera, et cetera. Now they do love animals and that, so that most of them have animal companions and that. Right to the point they even made these intelligent aquatic,
aquatic lemurs. They seem to favor lemurs
that are their pets. Now their cities, there's more than just Lemurians in their cities. They also have other races. First is the Muran, which are mermen and mermaids.
Yeah. So your classic mermaids, men and women. They also have different states of mer person that they can be. They can be more humanoid with a scaly fish-like exterior.
Like humanoid shape.
Yeah, but they actually these are set in limited time frames. They can't stay in these forms permanently. They will revert to their mer person or Moran standard shape.
Or they can take a full humanoid form, but then they're limited to like 2 hours per level in that shape, where they can walk around and walk on land and do all that kind of stuff. So that's the Moran. Then there's the Icthalians.
The Icthalians.
By the way, if I brutalize any of these words, sorry, because I just can't pronounce them. The Icthalians are more like the creatures from the Black Lagoon. That's the way they're described. So imagine that whole, humanoid
Fishman.
Fishman. Then there's junk crabs. Junk crabs are one of my favorite. I think they're just cool as hell.
Picture a hermit crab who gathers all the tech and crap that he can gather and puts it on or in his shell, and then augments it to use for various purposes.
Yeah,
mostly offensive.
Yeah, they'll put like hidden guns and jetpacks and seats so somebody else can ride along on their back. They cram all this stuff so that they make their house into like the giant armored shell, but it's all disguised as junk. So if they sit still, you can't even tell they're there. But if you go to attack them, they have all these automated weapons and stuff connected to it. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Okay, and then there's the bad guys. Now the Lemurians have a problem. Their one major problem is the Milu. It's a new type of undead. The Milu themselves are another crab-like race, but they've made a deal with a vampire intelligence, and the vampire intelligence has made a certain number of their people into vampires. So, and those are called I'm going to get him to pronounce this because I can't.
The Mahiki Milu.
Mahiki Milu. And so the Lemurians are continuously trying to get rid of them. So a lot of their tech is designed with bioenergy, which has more effect on these undead creatures and is able to kill them.
Something that should be mentioned is though the Mahiki Milu are essentially vampires, unlike other vampires in the Megaverse, they're not affected by water, since
obviously
that's where they live.
Yeah.
So that's another interesting point.
And now, one of the odder parts is the Milu and the Mahiki Milu are obviously from another world, but that same intelligence in the 1800s or 1600s, whatever, I'm not exactly sure of the time period. When Davy Jones, eventually walks the plank, in the famous, famous in history, walks the plank and all that. Once he goes into the water, we don't see him anymore from our history. He apparently makes a deal calling out to any dark god who will take him. And the vampire intelligence of the Milu ended up taking him. So he got turned into one of these before the Milu even make it to our world. He gets turned into the master vampire of the Milu. And so when the Milu eventually come here, they find out there's a master vampire of their intelligence already here. And then once the rifts subside and we're to our modern period, that gateway back home is gone, and it ends up now that Davy Jones, a humanoid vampire, is the Mahiki Milu's vampire intelligence. So he's got the whole pirate thing and zombie horde and everything going for him.
So he just went from badass to ultra badass by fluke.
Yeah, that's like the big kind of bad guy that most of the tech and stuff revolves around. Okay, let me go to the next part here. Okay, we got the aquatic dragons, then we have sea serpents, and we got exotic creatures. Okay. So, it's all kinds of underwater type beasties. I don't know, what do you think?
I really like the attention to detail that was paid to essentially, it's almost like they had to really build an aquatic world for you. Wasn't quite as easy, I don't think, as when they built Rifts Earth, obviously on land. I have to say though, for an aquatic tree hugging or coral hugging race, man, the Lemurians like to do a lot of capturing and taming and hunting, and it's like freaking Pokemon over there. They got to catch them all. But
yeah, their whole society has a lot to do with, like, there's one class of guys, the serpent hunters, that all they do is go out and catch sea serpents and stuff, bring them back so that they can use them.
Let's go find the biggest, baddest, nasty, and we're gonna make it do stuff for us, which doesn't make it too different from us, really. But it's very cool. Again, the attention to detail for that, to build this underwater kind of society is fantastic.
Yeah, and talking about society, like underwater now, you have to realize there's all kinds of different nations underwater now. There's actually, it seems like there's more going under the water now than there is on the land, because I mean you have the Lord of the Deep down there fighting, you have the Lemurians, you have the forces of Atlantis, you have the New Navy, you have the NGR with its explorationary forces.
Right.
You have all these guys down there combating, going all through the waters. You have the pirates who the fish face ones. I can't pronounce their names. I'm not even going to try. The Haroon, that's it. And there's another underwater race too. I can't pronounce it. I'm sorry.
Actually, it escapes me at the moment. But that said, the next time a player says to me when I'm running a risk campaign, "Oh, can't we swim there?" I'm like, go ahead.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of
Because
stuff.
underwater must be the most perilous place.
Yeah.
For all these warring factions and interesting things going on, and this just helps round it out that much more.
Yeah, there's a set of notes on underwater combat in here to flush that out. There's new underwater skills. There's biomancy spells. I stopped reading at like 30 of them. There's ocean magic spells. It just rounds it out. But that's kind of it for our YouTube time limit right now. So we'll have to cut it here and then start another one.
So guess what? You get another video. All right. So we'll see you guys in a bit.
See ya. Bye.